A year had passed since Ugomma crossed into the land of spirits, but her presence lingered like mist at dawn. The village had moved on, but not her parents. Each morning, as the cock crowed, Amaka rose, not to fetch water, not to sweep, but to sit by Ugomma's grave. She spoke not a word, just wept. The villagers stopped trying to call her back. For how do you call back a heart that has already gone? Ikenga, her husband, bore the grief like a stone on his back. By day he worked his farm alone. By night he returned to a home that no longer welcomed laughter. Some days he would find Amaka seated on the floor, distant, dry-eyed, as though death had borrowed her soul, but forgotten to return it. Ikenga began to cook, fetch, sweep. The man who once offered strength now learned how to light the fire. And when the food was done, he often ate alone. For Amaka no longer remembered what hunger felt like, only sorrow. Some nights, Ikenga made extra portions and placed the bowl beside Ugomma's grave. Not because he believed she would eat it, but because it gave his wife a reason to smile for just one heartbeat. Ikenga journeyed far, across hills and rivers to seek answers from Dibia. One read cowries, another burned herbs, but all gave the same reply: give it time. Time? How do you give what you no longer own? Seasons changed. Rain kissed the earth. Yams grew. New children were born. But nothing changed in Ikenga's home. The laughter that once came with harvest now tasted bitter. And Amaka was becoming a shadow. It began like any other day. Ikenga went to the farm, his cutlass sharp, his thoughts dull. He sang no song, he cracked no joke with the earth, but deep in the bush, the wind began to shift, and with it came voices whispering his name. Ikenga paused. A faint sound, like a memory. Ikenga! The voice called again, familiar but distant. His heart raced. Was it real? Or one of those calls that led men to vanish into the trees forever? He remembered his father's words: when spirits call, listen but do not answer too quickly. Again the name came, sharper this time. Ikenga! He dropped his hoe and ran, dodging branches, leaping over roots. The forest no longer felt like forest. It felt like a warning. Bursting out of the bush, he saw them, 6 villagers, 4 women, 2 men, one with tears streaming down her face. They didn't need to speak. Their hands on their heads said enough. It's Amaka, someone whispered. She went to the river. There at the river's edge, Amaka lay in the arms of her cousin. Her wrapper soaked, her body cold, her eyes wide open, but seeing nothing. The wind was still, the river ashamed, and Ikenga, broken. One of the women hissed through her teeth. What kind of man lets his wife grieve alone? Did you think grief was hers alone to carry? Ikenga opened his mouth, but no words came. Another voice pierced through the hush. If she had drowned, what would you say then? The river didn't move, and neither did Ikenga. Enough, said the eldest woman. She will stay with her people. She cannot return to your silence. Not like this. But Ikenga could plead. But they turned. They lifted Amaka gently. And just like that, the woman he had built a life with was gone. Again. Ikenga walked back home, each step heavier than the last. The compound was too quiet. Ugomma's grave looked lonelier. Inside, he saw Amaka's wrapper folded near the fire. He sat by it and drank palm wine until the night turned bitter. The wine numbed his tongue, but not his mind. He saw Amaka's laughter from years ago, before the child, before the gods. He remembered how they danced in the rain, how they once called each other Ugomma and Ifunanyam. And now he was a man alone with clay pots and ghosts. That night, something stirred inside him. Not grief, not regret, but rage. Rage at the gods. Rage at the one they called Annie. They gave us a gift, only to curse it. He spat. This was no blessing. This was betrayal, dressed in beads. Ikenga staggered to his feet, breath heavy, eyes bloodshot. They gave us a daughter, yes, but they took her before she could give us grandchildren. What God gives with one hand and snatches with the other. His voice trembled, not with fear, but with fury. He lit the fire, packed a goatskin bag, took his machete, not for famine, but for vengeance. His eyes searched the heavens. "Annie!" he cried. "Prepare for me. I am coming, not as your child, but as your enemy." He followed the same path from years ago, the shortcut to the land of gods. Only this time he walked without fear. No offerings in his bag, only anger, only questions too heavy for a mortal to ask. He reached the shrine by moonlight. It stood quiet, timeless, untouched. The same clay walls, the same sacred markings, but Ikenga no longer bowed. He kicked the god at the entrance. "Annie!" he roared. "You owe me answers!" He tore down the sacred cloth, knocked over calabashes, shattered the mirror that once showed futures. The spirit did not stop him. Or perhaps they watched in silence. "Come out!" he screamed into the night. "Face me! Or hide forever in your coward shrine." The shrine lay in ruin. Statues cracked, beads scattered. Ikenga stood in the wreckage, chest heaving. "You who walk with gods," he spat, "have walked into the heart of a grieving man." But no voice answered, only the sound of crickets and the silence that judged. Exhausted, Ikenga wandered through the bush. His rage had burned through his limbs. He found a large iroko tree and sat beneath it. Just a short rest, he muttered, but the earth beneath him was sacred, and that night sleep took him before regret could speak. When he awoke, the sky was bleeding light. The path home lay before him. but his heart was heavier. He remembered what he had done, what he had defied, and for the first time since Ugomma died, Ikenga felt fear. He turned compound, washed his feet, roasted yam, but every sound felt distant. He thought of visiting Amaka, but guilt held his legs still. Tomorrow, he said, but the spirits had had enough. That night, as he sat outside his hut, taking snuff, the wind rose, but only at the back of his hut. He stood, confused, stepped into the darkness. The wind stopped. Then, a blinding flash of light exploded in the front yard, like the moon had fallen from the sky. From within the glowing light, she stepped forth, cloaked in chalk white cloth, red head wrap, eyes like fire. Annie, goddess, mother of justice. Ikenga, she thundered. You who once bowed before my shrine, now you break it? I gave you a child, a daughter kissed by two worlds. And what did you do? You raised her with pride, not with wisdom. You say I cursed your home? No, Ikenga. You invited the curse when you forgot the terms of our covenant. He fell to his knees. Mercy, Annie. I was a father grieving, but Annie's eyes did not soften. You desecrated my name, and so the eyes that led you to my shrine shall see nothing now. Light vanished. Ikenga screamed. Darkness swallowed him whole. He cried out for help, for forgiveness, for Amaka, but the gods were silent, and the villagers, they heard nothing, because the voice of justice often speaks only to the one who offended it. At dawn, the cock crowed, but no neighbor visited Ikenga. His compound stood still. Some say they saw a great light the night before. Others say it was just a dream, but no one came. For the story of Ikenga had become a whisper the wind was afraid to carry. He lay there, in darkness, alone. Eyes that once saw the face of a goddess now saw nothing. A father who lost his daughter and then himself. To grief, to pride, to the very gods he once believed in. Some say Amaka never returned, that she now walks the riverside, speaking to spirits. Others say Ikenga still lives, sitting in the dark, whispering her name. Ugomma, Ugomma. A gift, a grief, a goddess warning. Moral lessons. Grief, if left alone, becomes a spirit of its own. Pride can destroy a gift before it blossoms. The gods do not forget covenants. Never curse the source of your blessing, lest it curses you back. Some vengeance is not justice, but judgment in disguise. Hope you enjoyed this beautiful piece. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Stay tuned.